Look at the boggies over here, ladies.
Welcome to Conettes.
Welcome. Guess where we are?
We're in New York City.
Empire State of Mind.
What borough?
The best borough. There can only be one if it's the best one. Also known as Kings County. Also known as home to Ho. To the notorious B.I.G. Foxy Brown, Little Kim,
Countless
Mike Tyson,
Eddie Murphy.
Oh, Nia Long. The list goes on and on
Jay-Z.
and on and on.
Oh, we said Jay-Z.
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, stand up.
So many. Spike Lee.
Oh, how can we forget Spike Lee? That's where we have to go today too. Don't we?
Yeah,
we have to swing by 40 Acres and a Mule over in the Fort Greene of the BK in the Kings County. Forgot about that. So you see, Tacones, we are actually here on a hip hop tour.
Yes.
For who?
For Young Jones.
For young baby Jones. Well, he's not a baby, but for Young Jones, Ishé's son.
So we're showing him, all the sights, some of the things in hip hop that happen, locations.
Some of the relevant places.
Some of the relevant places.
Hip hop.
Hip hop places.
Yeah. And there are many, because if you didn't know, what happened here?
What happened where?
In New York. For the people that didn't know, why did we pick New York as the place to come to for a hip hop tour? It started here.
Yes.
For people that didn't know, this is the birthplace of hip hop.
Yes. And we started at the actual borough Friday. We started in the Bronx. So after, let's see. So yeah, Friday, we got here. We arrived around noon.
Master Sergeant Jones had us up and ready at 6 a.m.
Yes, we were up and ready. We're, excited to come back to New York and excited to show Jones the, show him New York, because he's always talked about New York, wanting to come here, wanting to see all his favorite rappers' relevant spots they used to hang out, where certain videos are shot and all that stuff. So, we started, once we arrived in Times Square, we went straight to the Bronx. She went straight to yoga.
I did.
Yeah.
I let the Jones boys go do them. I wanted them to have some father and son time. I wanted to give myself some, love and care. So they got to go and bond and do something that they'll remember forever.
Yeah. It was really hot. There's kind of it was a little bit of a long train ride. I don't know, it was a little bit. Probably like 12 stops. But anyway, We want to start off with the Universal Hip Hop Museum. It's called the Universal Hip Hop Museum, and it's not a total hip hop museum, but this museum showcases artifacts, and they do tour of hip hop in the Bronx. So it's early years, it's golden years from 1979 to 1990.
Also known as the best years ever
Best
in
years.
hip hop.
Yes.
And shout out to Papa Jones, because his 14-year-old son, that's what he listens to. None of that little this one, little that one. None of that nonsense, rapping about God knows what,
Nope.
for God knows who. Little Baby Jones, thanks to this guy, raised on the foundation.
Yeah, he
Storytelling hip hop.
he is. This son is a real hip hop head. Like he loves the 90s and the 80s hip hop. Probably close early 2000s, but he just basically listens to 90s. So this was going to be a great experience for him. So we caught the train from Manhattan to the Bronx, and we had to use Google Maps to find a place and walk, and it was so hot. And once we got there, they said we're booked. So I was like,
Can you tell people, by the way, how hot it is in Fahrenheit and tell them in centigrade? How hot do you reckon it was?
oh, I want to say it was 98.
So it was about 30,
96.
between 30, 31 degrees, at most 32. So quite hot and humid. Remember, this is a city after all, and it's a bubble with sky rises. So once that heat descends, it gets trapped.
Yeah. I mean, we just left a hot place, Nigeria,
Right.
right to another hot place.
But different kind of heat though.
Yeah,
No?
because
Or
I was
how do you-
sweating. I was actually sweating.
I feel like it's more, it's heavier here because of the sky rises.
And
Me
pollution.
personally. And and the smog, right?
Yeah, so anyway, we got to first location, and they said they were booked. Previously, we went online to buy tickets, but they have a weird online system. When you go through sites on your phone, it's different than going on your computer.
Yeah.
So on the phone, it told me I had to email somebody for tickets. So I'm like, how you gonna send an email? Like, I don't think people are busy, because I tried to call them a couple of days ago. And anyway, so I sent the email, and I got a response the morning we left. So they were like, oh, we're booked up to July 8th. And I was like, man, I wish I'd have got the tickets earlier.
Carry on. I'm just putting a brekkie in the oven for a little reheating.
Oh,
Carry on. Go tell the people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
This is real life, guys.
so I wanted to get tickets, but I figured, like everybody, well, once we get there, let's go ahead and try again. Because I was like, by that time it was too late. And the reason I didn't go online and get tickets before is because we had a issue with scheduling with Lil Jones, with Young Jones, and wasn't sure exactly if he was gonna be on this trip. So anyway, I just
right, because
assumed,
you need ID, right?
Yeah.
You also need ID, guys, apparently, to get into this museum. So
Yeah, you need ID and your vax card.
so FYI,
Yeah, so the night before the trip, I called him and his mom and I said, can you bring his ID or his passport? And they lost it. They didn't know where it was. So I was like, well, I don't know if we're gonna be able to go to this museum. So anyway, that's why I didn't get tickets online. And then Tekeste said, hey, why don't you just try anyway? Why don't you just try to go up there and try to get in? Can't hurt. You got to go up there anyway. So anyway, we arrived. It was a little hard to get to because the Hip Hop Museum is kind of shares space with a mall or a big market. It looks like a giant mall. So it kept taking us in a direction to go inside this mall, but I knew it wasn't, you can't enter through the mall. So you have to enter through the actual door.
A street entrance.
The street entrance, yeah.
Do you remember where it is so that people can access it with more ease?
Bronx Market.
The exit street that the entrance is on?
The street, I cannot remember. But you enter, it's next to a pizza studio. This pizza place called Pizza Studio. So if you go to the Bronx over, let me see where that is.
So whilst he was doing that.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, it's on 610 Exterior Street.
Okay.
So it's Exterior Street, it's under the bridge, the street is under the bridge, and that's where you enter. So we entered in there, and first thing we saw was the chair that Slick Rick sat in on one of his album covers.
Hey.
And on a video too. So, and a velvet rope in front of him. So there was a guy there, like, we looked up and he was like, I guess it was a platform upstairs, and he was like, what you guys here for? I was like, the museum. He was like, you got tickets? I was like, no. He was like, but we wanted to talk to somebody. And so they sent somebody out. And so I was trying to explain, I was trying to give the sad story to the manager, how we just came all the way up here, 4 hours in the bus. And
from the nation's capital.
And young Jones is 14 and he really wants to, see this hip hop exhibit, but there's like, unfortunately, once we started touring, we can't, we have to take a few people at the same time, and it's 45-minute exhibit and a guided tour. So we can't, put you in the middle, and we're like, I guess for some reason they have some rule for space and the amount of people. So
okay.
They can only sell so many tickets. I don't know, some kind of code or violation code or whatever, but I assume it is what it is. So I said thank you, and he said we're booked until July 8th. So we're just gonna come back to New York, and I'll buy tickets early. And yeah, it's not a big deal. We come back and forth to New York sometimes, so, and we need to anyway, because she gets homesick.
And the good thing is, not that it's great that you guys weren't able to go into the museum itself, but at the same time, New York is so full and rich of other hip-hop references, so they've been making good use of, it's not a lost cause is what we're saying. Even if you don't go to the museum, there are plenty of other references and things to do here to connect you to the culture of hip-hop and its sort of inception.
Yeah, so anyway, y'all like this Airbnb?
Oh yeah, we're staying at a Airbnb.
And I'm sure either you saw video of it or we're gonna put video of it after this vlog.
We captured it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you did.
Yeah.
She did
That's
the
right.
tour.
Friday night. Yes, I did. Yeah. So
yeah.
we'll insert that for sure. Or maybe you've already seen it.
Yeah. It's right here. No, it's not right. So anyway, after The hip hop museum, that was a fail to get in, but so it's like on our itinerary. So after that, it was like, okay, he wants to see the Big Pun mural. So I figured out, oh no, she kind of gave me a schedule of how we should, transportation wise, how we should get to each of these spots. I found the spots and she figured out the best routes to get to these spots. So after that, she said she suggested taking an Uber to the next location, which is also, it's going north of the Hip Hop Museum, further in the Bronx. So, yeah, we took an Uber to the Big Pun monument, or not monument, mural, and that was pretty cool. Uber was cool, clean, it's nice. It was a nice car. But anyway, we went to see the Big Pun mural, took pictures over there, took a little video, as you should see, or you already saw.
Or maybe a still shot.
Yeah, still shot here.
Oh, the wonders of editing.
So after Big Pun or Big Punisher, Big Pun is endearing name for Big Punisher.
I forgot that, I needed that reminder. Yeah, I haven't heard Big Punisher in so long. I'd forgotten that was actually the full name.
Yeah, Big Pun, if y'all know, the Puerto Rican Dominican rapper.
Who passed way too soon.
Yep. Yeah.
Very young.
Too soon. So from there, we went to a DMX mural.
Also gone too soon.
Gone too soon, yep. And it's further north in the Bronx, almost it's at Burke Station, which is like, that's almost towards the end. So we went there to that mural. He wanted to go into a bodega, I forgot. I can't believe that was, that much time passed since we even went inside a bodega. So he wanted to have that experience. Everybody hears about these bodegas in New York. So went inside there. I treated him to a refreshment, and I kind of steered him in the direction of Jamaican cola. So he grabbed a champagne cola.
Jamaican. A ting?
No, they didn't have the tings, but they had the other, I can't remember that brand, Grace, I think. But anyway, he grabbed one of those, and I like that part of the Bronx for some reason. I don't know, I felt a good vibe. Like, how you walk down the street, you're hearing reggae everywhere. I'm hearing Trini Patois, and then I hear a guy crazy guy, speaking Spanish, walking across the street, yelling at people. And then I heard French, I heard Creole, I heard all these languages. And I had to go inside this restaurant to use the bathroom. And it reminded me of Panama, especially the food showcase. But I no longer eat that food. There was like lechones, there was cuero, there was like, roast pork, lechon, big old shank legs of meat, and
big old piece of carcass.
Yeah, roast chicken, empanadas, frijoles and rice, yeah, plantains, potato salad, everything was there. So anyway, from that mural, like I said, you can hear calypso and reggae. I love it. From there, we decided to, so we had, time. We had, earlier than we planned while she was at yoga.
Getting my whole life together.
Yeah, so I called her and said, we got a little time left, so we're gonna head down to Harlem, and that's where we were supposed to meet. we're supposed to meet Tekeste at Red Rooster in Harlem. And tell the people about Red Rooster.
Well, before I got to Red Rooster, I'll just say I got my practice on at my home studio here, which is Moto NYC. It's where I got my training and I did my practicum, so to speak, and my mentorship primarily here, some in Canada as well. So went back to my home studio, practiced with my favorite teacher at Moto NYC, which is the incomparable Randy Aaron. And then met up with a friend across the street at this terrific cafe that if you maybe are not from New York or might be from New York, but maybe just don't know, this little gem called Ad Hoc. It's a really great coffee shop that's like underground. And I will drop the link in the description box for Ad Hoc. The owner is somebody that I know. She's a lovely woman owned, minority owned, super empowered, intelligent woman from LA originally. So incidentally, on the same street at the corner, she owns another cafe called Rose Crans, which is, what's Rose Crans?
I mean, Rose
for people that are not from LA.
Oh yeah, y'all know Rosecrans Street. There's one in San Diego. I'm sure they're all over California. So yeah, part of those tree streets.
Okay, so yeah, so she, being an LA native, titled or called this cafe, which is also a beautiful flower shop right on the corner, Rosecrans. So again, support and listen, I'm from the coffee world. I wouldn't be recommending it if it wasn't excellent. It doesn't matter that I know the owner. Really great. Both have got ambiance that gives you an experience. And both have furniture and flowers for sale. So you get to sip your coffee or latte or lavender tea, whatever you want, and shop, buy some flowers, or just enjoy the ambiance. So both of those cafes below. Met up with a good friend. We caught up quickly, and then that's when Jones and I connected because I initially had planned to come to the B&B, bring out bags here and get us checked in and comfortable, and then I was going to shower, change, go uptown to meet them, but they had wrapped up a little bit early. I was still in the city, so it made sense that we try to just link up, finish up our day in the city, as opposed to trying to come to Brooklyn and then back. Once you come to New York, for those of you that have not been here before, everything takes long. You've got to understand, everything takes long. Like if you're going from Harlem to Brooklyn, that's an hour. Bronx to BK, that's an hour. Queens to Brooklyn, 40 minutes. So Staten Island, same thing, it's going to be another hour. So you always kind of want to give yourself, if you don't want to be stressed while you're getting from A to B, always give yourself an hour, even if it takes less, right? If it takes less, it's great. And if it takes more, don't be surprised. You don't know what could happen on the tracks today. People are constantly throwing rubbish. Unfortunately, sometimes people onto the tracks that will mess up the trains. Just keeping it 100% honest with you guys. This happens here, right? Anything can go. Also on the weekends, express lines run locally, right? So rather than getting the benefit of just going to the major stations, if you're traveling on the weekend, you definitely need to give yourself a minimum of an hour, because everything is extended by virtue of the fact that the express trains will now hit every single station. So if you're like coming from 125th Street in Harlem, it'll stop at 116, 110, whereas on the weekdays, an express train will go 125th, and then the next stop will literally be Times Square. Like, that's an express train, right? You miss out on all the little stops in between. You go from 125th to 42nd. So things for you to consider if you've not been here before. But Red Rooster Harlem. So Red Rooster Harlem is this exceptional restaurant that was opened in 2010 actually, by the great Ethiopian Swedish chef, Marcus Samuelsson. I actually had the pleasure of helping him open this restaurant. So I worked with him. I contributed to all the drinks menu, so the cocktails, some of the cocktails as well, like Earl of Harlem, etc. Those were named and made by mixologists that I hired. We did the taste testings. Also their coffee and tea menu I designed as well. I was working on a coffee and tea line for Marcus Samuelsson, which is now just a tea line known as Ambessa. So I had the pleasure of doing that. Great restaurant. If you haven't checked it out, absolutely do. Downstairs there's a little speakeasy. It's called Jenny's Supper Club. It's reminiscent of like the jazz era in Harlem during the 1920s. So if you're looking for a grown and sexy night out with your boo on a Friday night or a Saturday and you're uptown, Harlem is a wonderful place to visit and to hang out at. You can have dinner upstairs and then listen to a little live music, jazz, sometimes Afro beats downstairs. So we met there, and then you guys wanted to see another mural, actually.
Yeah, before we met Tekeste, we couldn't, be in Harlem and not go to the Big L mural.
It's actually Little Jones's favorite, I think, right?
That's his very favorite rapper. Well, he has two major favorite rappers. All his favorite rappers are dead, by the way. So
gone too soon.
Yeah, but his top rappers have passed away. So this was like, bitters. It was a sweet moment for him because he got to go. So we went to Big L, Big L mural, and that was on West 140th Street on 140th and Lenox. So we went there, and Big L talked about in his songs, he always mentioned 139th, that street he was from. So for my son to actually go on that street and be around that area in Lenox, like what he heard in the songs all the time, that he even saw in the videos, like he was in a state of euphoria. And then so we walked from the station to the Big L mural on 140th. We got off at 135th, and so we walked north to 140th, and this mural was still there, nice. There was candles, like vigil, in front of it still. And he passed away and when was that? Like 2000 or something like that. Yeah, or 2002, something like that, somewhere around there. But anyway, yeah, it's still out there. The mural is nice. I don't know when the mural happened. I think the mural was built like two years ago, 3 years. I don't know, I could be wrong. Tell me if y'all know. But it's been there for a while, and to have it still pristine. Well, all the murals we went to still, respected. Like nobody did anything, nobody painted over it or threw a tag up over it. Like nobody was disrespectful, and that's the great thing.
That's because we would F you up, mess up our kings, the legends of this city.
Those are the legends, yeah.
Just like
See, that's why I don't mess up.
You don't want to get caught out here.
But so yeah, picture right here. And so yeah, so we went to that mural, and then there's a playground park right across from the mural. So I was like, oh, maybe Big L used to hang out in this park. Maybe he used to play basketball here. Maybe he used to just, kick it with the homies in this park. And he was like, he just wanted to stay in the park. I think he was feeling the energy there. He was feeling something. So he wanted to just, look around the park, because we was gonna head back to 125th. But he's like, can we stay in this park for a minute? Can we just go through here? So we stayed in there. And so I was walking around, we saw a couple of guys exercising, like doing pull-ups and like push-ups. And yeah, just like you might have seen in countless hip-hop videos from the 90s, dudes would just be doing pull-ups on the corner, on street signs, or in the park or whatever. So when they were doing theirs, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do some pull-ups too. And so
I didn't know you got a little workout in.
I'll put the video.
Okay.
Well, y'all might have seen it. It's gonna y'all have seen it, or y'all will see it on the video. So I did a few pull-ups, and then Coco got inspired. That's Lil Jones. So Young Jones got inspired to, he wanted to do some pull-ups, so he's still working on that, on the pull-up strength, because you know it's not easy. And so I was saying, you want me to help you? And he was like, no, I'm gonna try it. And then when he was trying to do a pull-up, he used to do them when he was small, but he got so big. So strength gotta match up with his size now. So older gentleman, elder, I think he may have, he could have, we could be the same age, or he could be older. But anyway, I think he was
Hard
older.
to tell with black.
Yeah.
Hard to tell.
Yeah. I think he was there with his grandson. And so he just came over, he saw us, and he was like, yo, let me tell you how. He gave us some, he was giving us like some techniques, and he was just dropping some wisdom and some knowledge on, the science of working out and the mental aspect of working out and even doing pull-ups. He just came over there, yo, that's your son. He was like, the hard NYC accent. It's your son. You got this. He was like, just telling us, it's a mental game. Like pull-ups, they the hardest thing to do, but once you start doing them, you can't stop. Like he was just saying, like you start off with push-ups, and once you get the push-up, then he said actually pull-ups are easier than push-ups. So he was saying that, but with pull-ups, it's a mental mind game. Like you just, people in their mind, they telling themselves how many they want to do. And he was like, you can't do that. You just gotta get up there, do as many as you can, and you count a cadence. So your pull-up game has to be like whatever feels right for you. Like you just don't want to say, okay, I'm gonna do 10 at a time, or I'm gonna do these amount of reps. You do a cadence. So if you get up there and you can lift yourself up, then you do it as much as you can until you get tired, right? So then you count. So if you just take your hands, you use a pull-up bar, and you pull, and if you can pull it up again, you do that. So if you can only do 2, he said, don't worry about it. If you can only do 1, don't worry about it. But the thing is, after you do that 1, you make sure you go up from there. Like you can't do the same, and you can't do less than what you did. So you always got to do more. Then he gave this nugget. He said, he was talking directly to Young Jones, and Young Jones was listening keenly. And he said, whatever you do, you can't do nothing. You got to do something, like every day. And he's like, how old are you? He's like, 14. He's like, this the age where like you have to start, because like your body, you get into your teenage body now. So you look awkward, your muscles don't work right, but this is where you start training your muscles to work, and it's the best age to start. And he has started working out like 2 years ago. So, but he started out, boxing and doing push-ups and stuff. So he was like, yeah, because you start now, by the time you get 17, 18, you'd be really jacked, So he was like, and then he was like, yeah, because, some of my boys, they went upstate. I didn't go upstate, but they went upstate. And they told me, and they taught me, how to work out.
That's code for?
That's code for prison. Rikers Island, to be exact. So people call, when they say upstate, in a lot of contexts, they mean jail or prison.
Carry on, I'm just checking on our food. Which is, by the way, leftovers from aunts et uncles. Shout out to French.
Et uncles. And that's the French, it's a, like E-T, et. So I was like, we going to mom's uncles et, aunts et uncles. So anyway, so he's talking to us, and that's in the video too. He's talking to us about working out, and it's a good conversation. And he had to go, And so we stayed there, kicked it in the park for a little bit. And then I was like, you want to walk? And he was like, yeah, because we're in Harlem. That's the borough of his choice. Like, he always wanted to see anything in New York. When you mention New York, he will always say something about Harlem. So he was always interested in Harlem. And so that's, it was the best place for him to go first. And plus, for our schedule, we had to knock that out because we're staying in Brooklyn. And you guys from New York, you know how far that is. Like the other side of the planet. So we start walking down towards Red Rooster to meet Tekeste for dinner, because now it was time to eat. So we met up with her, and then we had decided I think we had a little time left, so we had decided to try to go to this graffiti park, like the Graffiti Hall of Fame. It's on Park Avenue. So we got down there, and we met up with Tekeste in front of Red Rooster, and then we were deciding, I told her, I said, let's go to the Hall of Fame, the Graffiti Hall of Fame. And she's like, okay, we're gonna start walking. And we ended up walking in the opposite direction. And she was like, oh, let's walk to the Apollo. It's showing the Apollo. So we walked, to the Apollo, took pictures here. Picture right there. So we went to the Apollo, and then we took a bus. Was it the M3? What bus? You remember the bus? M3?
We were looking for the M2, but we got on the M3 to go downtown.
Okay, so yeah. Alright, so yeah, we took the bus south down towards Central Park, and we got off, I can't remember where at Central Park that we got off, but we got off there and we walked to this Graffiti Hall of Fame mural, and that was pretty dope, but the park was closed, so we can only get from the outside. And then from there, we decided to eat, and we went to eat pizza at Babbalucci's Italian restaurant.
So we're foodies anyways, and so is Little Jones. It's a little of the mac and cheese. And I left the pasta primarily in case Little Jones wants it. Although we have a lot of leftovers, guys. We still have leftovers from Babbalucci from day one. Over there, we have some leftovers from Smorgasburg, Williamsburg, which we'll tell you about, and then also aunts and uncles last night in Flatbush, which was lovely.
So,
Bon appetit.
I'm eating roast cauliflower.
This cauliflower, guys, from aunts and uncles. Money. And then Ishé also got the it was the lobster roll, right? With the palm of hearts. But we also tried, because our dinner companions last night tried the other.
I'll show you a little bit of them.
Yeah.
Right, leftovers. So this is the cauliflower with the lobster roll. It's vegan, so it's not real lobster, but it tastes like lobster.
But you said you preferred the taste of the other thing that our dinner companions had last night. That was also served in like a similar roll.
Was it sawfish?
Was it the fish bake or something?
Fish bake, yeah. I can't remember what it was supposed to taste like. It was supposed to be. Well, can't see it. Some of the pasta and mac and cheese.
All plant-based. Their mac and cheese is really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice mac and cheese. By the way, if you thought New York was expensive before, or were thinking that it was, which it was, ridiculously expensive. If you guys knew what I was paying for rent, that's not that I will share, but you'd be floored. It's worse.
Yeah.
He knows. He used to visit me, when we were dating. He used to come up and visit me. He will tell you it was expensive, and that was when he had a place to stay for free, right? Because he was staying with me. Then he still felt how expensive it was. Now, how would you say it is in this here year 2022?
Yeah, because of certain events that happen in the world, there's all this inflation. And now everything is mad expensive.
I paid $7 for a tea, guys. All I'm saying is it's not for the faint of heart. Be prepared. Be prepared. Thank goodness we're only here for 3 days. I don't think we could afford to be here more than that.
No, we don't want to say how much this Airbnb is. But
let me not put that in the universe. We can because we are.
Because we have enough. We're abundant.
Abundant. we're just letting you know. Be prepared to spend.
We have what we need.
Yes, we do. We're very blessed. We're grateful. So back to Friday night. We get to Babbalucci.
Babbalucci.
I wanted his son to have a great meal because he's a huge foodie, just like his dad and I. And I thought that he would enjoy it. So, because you know, it's he's not vegan, he's not plant-based, so I wanted to give him the option to have, you know, something that he could really enjoy, that was delicious. Ishé and I had been to Babbalucci before. It's actually my favorite pizzeria currently. It pains me to say that because it's not in Brooklyn, but it's okay. Because everything else that I love is in Brooklyn, but it's all good. Yeah, Babbalucci, okay, let's talk about Babbalucci, go ahead.
Oh, no, because you had more excitement with the look on Young Jones's face when he tasted the pizza.
We had a cool moment.
I'll put the picture of the pizza. Bam.
Bam. He was like, because we'd ordered 2 pizzas once we sat down. By the way, I was really surprised at how seamless and quiet the restaurants were. Seamless it was to get a table because of how quiet, which I don't love for them, because when you're paying these rents, you know, you need to be busy. And it's interesting because 2 years ago was the last time that you and I ate there. I remember it was August 2020. It was packed, so packed that we waited an hour and a half for our table. We went on a Friday night in the summertime. So in the midst of, right, August 2020, JP Sears, if you don't know, in the midst of that whole situation, we still had an hour and a half wait on a Friday night. So to be able to walk in from the streets without a reservation, it was empty. There was maybe one table. I think there was one table there. So support if you can. Support these restaurants. I was reading days leading up to our weekend here because I'm subscribed to a lot of different newsletters for with regards to the culinary scene in New York because, you know, I've owned my own cafe here. I've worked with celebrity chefs here. I've consulted for numerous different events and menus in the city, so I'm very connected to the culinary scene in New York. So I get a lot of industry news, and in one of the articles that I was reading, literally just days before we arrived, it was stating that literally like restaurants have a 25% capacity currently is what they're operating on. So they've lost basically 75% of their business. And after the 2 years that they've had, it's a miracle that they're still here. So, you know, if we can do our part, whatever that is, small bit to help. I know we've all got our own things going on, but, you know, something to consider if you have it. So we walked in, we got a table straight away, sat down. We ordered 2 pizzas because we weren't really hungry, but we also knew that we weren't going to have food when we got to the B&B, so we needed to eat now or hold our peace. So we ordered 2 pizzas, and obviously Lil Jones got himself something with meat. Ishé and I got the burrata margherita. È da vivere, ragazzi, è veramente da vivere. This pizza is for living. The first time I took Jones there, he didn't give me this Jones, not baby Jones, didn't give me much. He just like, yeah, okay. Right? He was more excited, I think, about the eggplant that night.
Eggplant parmesan, that was my thing.
So our burrata margherita came out first. His son and I immediately went for it. Ishé was like, I'm gonna hold off for a minute. And baby Jones, little Jones was like,
Yeah.
what did I just bite into?
He has a very discerning palate. So, he's an actual foodie, like at 14. So, yeah, it's not easy to impress. But he was very impressed and happy, and said, "What did he say? Those words?"
Oh wow. He's like, okay, yeah. Wow, this was really good. I said, Coco, have I steered you wrong? He said no. I said, let's cheers to that. We took our pizza slices. Cheers.
And I think he said that was the best pizza he's had ever in his whole life. I mean, his whole 14 years.
Yeah. But he's had a lot of great food. You know, he travels a lot. Both of his parents take him, you know, to many different places. He's very, very blessed that way. So he's had a lot of exposure to great food, different ethnic foods, etc., etc. So, you know, and because of that, thank God for this. He's a really easy eater. You know what I mean? Like, so long as the food is good, he's not fussy. He's not one of those kids that's like, ooh, I don't eat vegetables and I don't eat that. I can't tell you what a relief it is to be around a child that is like just somebody who enjoys good food. It doesn't matter if it's meatless or if there's veggies or if there is meat. It just needs to taste great.
Yep.
That's all he cares about. You know? What more could you ask for, honestly? What more could you ask for? Especially when you're in a city like this, which is legitimately the culinary capital of the world. I say this as somebody that was born and raised in Bologna, which is the culinary capital of Italia, if you know. The finest chefs go and study there. The fact that I worked with some of the top, restaurants in this city. This is the culinary stage. New York sets the stage, the tone. So when you bring a child here who's open and can experience all of that without reservation, that's very enjoyable, I think, you know, for us as the adults. It's very enjoyable. When his pizza came, he was in heaven because his had meat on it. So it even elevated the experience more for him. He was quite pleased. So yeah, none of us finished our pizza because always our eyes are bigger than our stomach. Always. We're not huge eaters, which is why we still have leftovers from Friday night. So we brought the rest, we packed the rest up. We didn't get anything else that night because we weren't even all that hungry.
Yeah, I just had a beer and one slice of pizza, and it was amazing. Like, it was different than what I remember.
Finally, I got the reaction I was looking for.
Yeah, it was good. So yeah, then we just came to this lovely Airbnb. And
how'd I do?
Great, as always. I leave that up to her. Accommodations, just take the card and
He gives me a budget and then I have to try to work within that budget.
Yeah, so I know she's gonna pick, I don't have to worry about it. She's gonna pick something nice and cool. But I passed right out. When we got home, we took Airbnb.
Yeah.
I laid on the couch. I was done I had to rest. That was a long day. We got up at 6 in the morning.
I want to bite a beer.
We got up at 6 in the morning and we did all that traveling and we got back like 11 or 10:30. I think it was like 10.
It was late. The first night we got in here, it was late. 10:30 for sure.
Yeah. So
we were beat. So we had all these plans for Saturday morning, but we got in so late. We kind of just all passed out. But we will say this, very productive day.
yeah, we got a lot.
We didn't mention this because we didn't come to the Airbnb yet. We had our belongings with us the entire day.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That was kind of like, it was something that we had agreed upon was best for us to kind of get the most out of the day because, like I said to you all earlier, everything takes long. So we would have easily eaten up 2 hours of our day, if not longer, just to come to Brooklyn first, drop off the bags, and then go back out to the city or Bronx. it would have eaten 2 to 3 hours up. So instead of eating it up for no reason, thankfully we traveled light. There are 3 of us. We only had 2 rollerboards, the small ones for carry-on, if you're traveling on an aircraft. So we just, and plus his rucksack. So we decided to just kind of bring them along with us. And although it was really tiresome and tiring because most of the metro stations are not friendly to people who have disabilities, meaning they're not highly accessible. They don't have lifts or elevators. So you have to carry your bags, most of them. A few of them do in New York City, but not like some of the major ones, but not the majority. So it's not an overly friendly city, if I'm being honest, for people who have mobility issues or are traveling with like heavy packages. But you know, we are only here for 3 days, so we decided to just come light. And again, it was still uncomfortable. I'm not going to deny it, but
yeah,
we were able to get through it.
Imagine just, they weren't heavy, but after a while, you lugging like two carry-on roller bags
on the concrete.
So
yeah, that's not always level, right? Under extreme heat and sun, and smuggy, like the mugginess and the smogginess of like New York City. So all that kind of gets to you. Plus you're tired. We've been up since 5 or 6, etc., etc. So all of those things kind of play a part.
But on the way from Babbalucci, so the boy wanted to, he's like, yeah, I want to be in New York at nighttime. So I was like, it's night, it's turning dark. He's like, oh, this is cool, like walking around. He's like, I always want to walk around at night here. So it's like, that's what you be doing. So we walked around, and you know, Tekeste. And the music, if there's music going on, she's gonna dance. She's gonna move, no matter where we at, no matter who's around. She danced like no one's watching. We passed by this club, you know, a little bar club situation they had, you know, this house music blaring, and these ladies was on the dance floor.
Oh, in Harlem at the Red Rooster.
After that, she's like outside the window, like,
let me in, let me in.
Yeah, she asked the guard.
Like...
Yeah, she asked the guard to, can she get in for a second and get on the floor? And
with the ladies, with the aunties.
What do you say? You gotta buy something?
He said, you have to buy something. I said, sir, I just want to go in. It's just a moment I'm trying to have.
Yeah, just a few minutes. Not a few minutes.
It was really just a moment I was trying to capture, yeah. But
yeah, so, and then he was like, yeah, buy something. She was like, okay, never mind. So we was walking. He said, well, you can go in. And she's like, nope, too late. Forget it. No. It was kind of like, you know, you miss your opportunity, but on the opposite side. It was like, say he was trying to flirt with her, and then he was acting all, you know, bougie and stuck up. And then when she walks off, he's like, oh yeah, she looks good. Hey, come back. And she's like, nope, you missed it. That's what that moment seemed like in a nutshell. So,
you didn't want me to go in, so I didn't go in.
Yeah, so that was before we got back.
What else happened? Did we, when we got out the station here in Brooklyn, did we hear any music or anything? I mean, we've been hearing a lot of music.
Yeah. She's dancing, you know, everywhere.
Also in Harlem, when the girls were dancing, was it in Harlem? Where
yeah,
the women outside of the laundromat.
Yeah.
I know that corner well because I used to actually live in Harlem. Yeah, so there's like a laundromat on 128th and Lexington and Lenox. And there were like some ladies out there dancing on the corner. They were listening to some oldies music. I don't remember what the song was playing.
Yeah, it was some old,
it was like
R&B classic.
That just moves you, right? Like, you know how those like Marvin Gaye, like that whole era, just because it's real musicianship, it just kind of like, it was one of those oldies anyways. It wasn't Marvin Gaye, but it was one of those oldies, and it was just like, and they were, you know, and here they are on a Friday night in the summertime. It's hot, it's sunny, it's beautiful, 8 p.m. at night, and they're just making their own fun, you know, on the streets of New York. And this is what I love. You don't have to be inside a venue to have an amazing time in New York, you know. there's so much culture and there's so many people who are just like fun and fun-loving and creative that just things pop up. Like a lot of good people in New York City, man. Can't say it enough. A lot of good folks.
Yeah.
And also, I recently learned because of a video that Ishé sent to me that New York City is actually the most densely populated city when it comes to Black people in America. It has the biggest Black population in America, basically.
Hey,
Who knew?
something
Bigger
new.
than Atlanta, bigger than Chicago. I didn't know, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that wraps it up for us for day one.
Yeah. Yeah. So day one is, yeah. So
Signed, sealed, and delivered. Bye, guys.
bye.
For all the pain,